If you searched every folks' home in the country, you couldn't find anyone who looked more like Santa Claus. He was the living, breathing incarnation of the old gent. White beard, pink cheeks, fat tummy, and all. And his name was Kris Kringle, too.
This is a fun one. So, I mean, it could be really any Christmas movie with that quote, but we're doing Miracle on 34th Street.
Yeah, which is just... This is the movie that gives you, like, the warm and fuzzies.
This is the Christmas movie.
Yeah.
This is, like, for me, this is a... Very much like we just did It's a Wonderful Life. This is...
Another staple.
Another staple Christmas movie. And this one has an adaptation that I love.
Yeah.
Like, the 1947 version is incredible, classic. We're going to talk a lot about that.
Mm-hmm.
But the 1994 version, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah. It's everything.
How do you feel when you switch to Geico and save on your car insurance? It's like going to work on one Thursday morning and thinking to yourself, just one more day until Friday. But then somebody in the elevator says, Happy Friday! Then you check your phone quickly and discover today is actually Friday. So yes, Happy Friday, random stranger in the elevator. Happy Friday indeed. Yep, switching and saving with Geico feels just like that. Get more with Geico.
It can get lonely climbing Mount McKinley, so to entertain myself, I go to ChumbaCasino.com. At Chumba Casino, I can play hundreds of online casino-style games for free, like online slots, bingo, Slingo, and more. Plus, I get a daily login bonus. It's just too bad that up here, I don't have anyone to share my excitement with. Woohoo!
Live the Chumba life. Anytime, anywhere. Play for free now at ChumbaCasino.com. VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
It's so cute. Also, did you have any idea this was based on a book? I had no freaking clue.
I didn't originally, but of course, like as soon as we kind of dove into Christmas classics that are, you know, based on books, it made sense to me.
Yeah, and it popped up and we were like, holy crap, this is a book. And then seeing it, it's by Valentine Davies, and it's like the tiniest little thing. It's a novella.
Yeah. Well, and I found this a really interesting and fun kind of fact about this is the book was written and then the screenplay for the film was written 2 years after the book was published. So like
Very
it
fast.
kind of was written to be a movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Which you kind of feel when you read it. You definitely get that vibe. But I guess before we dive any further into that, what are we drinking today?
So when I was doing cocktails for this one, I wanted to think like, what's the thing as a kid? Because I watch this every year. What is the thing that like I associate with this? And it's hot chocolate.
Yes.
Hot
Fair.
cocoa. So we're big kids now.
Yeah.
So we're just doing spiked hot cocoa.
Love it.
And any Irish cream. I like to do Beaver Coat bourbon cream, but anything that you want. And this is a real, I mean, measure with your heart's desire. Like, there's no measuring when it comes to that.
Fair.
But are you a marshmallow hot chocolate person or a candy cane hot chocolate person?
Well, here's the thing. I'm so glad you asked that question because in like the season of Christmas, 100% a candy cane.
Okay.
But any other time, marshmallows. Or whipped cream. But
Yeah. I'm a marshmallow person for sure. But during Christmas, I want a candy cane in there.
there's just something kind of magical. about
Peppermint
it.
mocha? Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
I love anything peppermint.
Me too.
So-
With chocolate too. Like, sign me up.
That's a big controversial flavor.
Because to me, mint chocolate chip ice cream is like superior.
Yes.
It's delicious.
Yes.
But so many people,
Hate
my
it.
fiance included, was like, it tastes like chocolate toothpaste.
Yeah.
I think he's grown to love it because I haven't given him any other options. But it's one of my, like, truly one of my favorite flavor combos.
Yeah, I think for as long as I can remember, it's my like go-to if I go to an
Same.
ice cream shop, especially hard ice cream.
Oh my gosh.
Like a scoop of that green.
The green mint
with
chocolate
the
chip.
chunks.
Giant chunks.
Not the
dark,
chips.
Dark
The
chocolate.
chunks.
And that's the other thing too. I don't dislike the white.
No, it's
But it
just
should
not the
be
same.
green.
I think this is, I think like, you know, a mental thing here. I think it's a nostalgia thing. That green is such your like.
Is it because we all grew up going to Friendly's and they had that Monster Mash
Probably.
ice cream sundae that was the green chocolate chip?
Probably.
Okay.
And I think like the first time I got it in a white variation, I was this isn't, I ordered mint chocolate chip and very quickly realized
it's like when your toothpaste started being normal colors and you're like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, where's the sparkly
Why is this
blue?
not pink and sparkly? Why is this not blue and sparkly? Like, what is this nonsense? Why is this
so
white?
True.
This is the lamest thing ever.
It's so true.
Maybe we start as green ice cream havers, and then we grow.
And then it changes.
Once you mature, you get the white.
Yeah, fair. That's so
that had nothing to do with what we were talking about.
I
but
mean,
what a fun fact.
Yeah.
Okay, so the book I read in about 46 seconds.
Yeah, it was really funny. Like, kind of going into this, I didn't really know what to expect because the movie itself is very simple. You know, like the storyline is a very simple storyline and a very like, you know, holiday spirit storyline. And so I kind of felt like the book would be very similar in the sense that like there's not going to be a whole lot to it.
It's not.
I thought we'd get more in the book, and you don't. Like, the movie gives you the storyline in depth. Like, there's actual character.
There's like character development in the movies.
There's characters.
There's people.
With like stories.
So this is a very interesting one, right? Because the idea of it. So what happened was our boy, Mr. Davies here, wrote it, right? Mm-hmm. And then he took the story idea to writer and director George Seaton, who then turned it into a screenplay. And the first title was The Big Heart.
Yeah.
Which is super fun. Then they changed it to It's Only Human. I mean.
Okay.
Sure. That's not what I would guess a Christmas movie to be about. But I don't want to gloss over the book super quickly, but there's just really not much to it.
There's not a lot. No, and I think like, you know, once... because he tried to, I would assume that when he wrote this, he had to know that it was going to be purchased by someone to create the movie. And so like 20th Century Fox bought the rights to it and did the screenplay. I think it's interesting because of how quickly that turnaround was.
Really fast.
And the book itself is only 120 pages. Which when I read that little fact, I was like, really? It's 120 pages? Because it doesn't feel like it's even that long.
It feels like 40 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also thought it was interesting because there was also a Broadway production.
That man over there is Santa Claus. I know, I know, I know. I can tell by the crinkle on the bridge of his nose, the wink of his eye on the twinkle of his toes, and the joy wherever he goes. That man is he.
Yeah, in the 60s, in 1963.
Yeah, and I was like, it obviously doesn't exist anymore, but it's interesting that from this story, this short story, all of these other little things have came. And I also found it really interesting. Sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit because it's kind of this is just how my brain is today. The other thing that I found really interesting was Valentine was inspired to write this because of a day that he spent standing in line at a big department store. It was a Macy's, which I thought was kind of fascinating. And I also learned that when he originally wrote the screenplay, the intention was to use Macy's, but obviously they couldn't do that. And so that's when, for the newest adaptation of it, they call it Kohl's.
And they approached Macy's and said, you can have this. Because in the 1947 version, the film of the Thanksgiving Day Parade is the actual Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade of that year that they were shooting. And they gave them all the rights. Like, they were like, you can have, like, this is free branding for you across the board. Yeah. And to be honest with you, it kind of gave Kohl's, aka Macy's, a really good edge because it was like, we're the real store that's here for your family. We're not like the D-bags down the street. Right. What was it called? Super Savers or whatever it was in the 1994.
Super Cuts or something.
Something.
Yeah.
So we have that version, right?
Yeah.
But then there's also the 47 version.
Oh, Christmas isn't just a day. It's a frame of mind. And that's what's been changing. That's why I'm glad I'm here. Maybe I can do something about it.
And then you have the 1994 version with Richard Attenborough as Kris Kringle.
My mother's Mrs. Walker. She's director of special events for Kohl's.
Uh-huh.
She runs a parade.
Oh.
I know how this all works. You're an employee of Cole's.
That is true.
But you're a very good Santa Claus.
Thank
Your
you.
beard's stuck on real tight. Usually the store Santa Claus whiskers are too loose.
Right.
Yours look realistic.
That's because they are real. You give them a tug.
Which is the one that I grew up watching. I didn't know that there were older versions until I got older. And what's funny, though, is I'm pretty positive this was one of the movies that was like on my grandparents' television. And I just didn't really pay attention to it because it was just an old movie and probably didn't appreciate it. But then like now as an adult rewatching it, I'm like, oh, this is totally like a classic.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. And
It's
I also,
really beautiful.
so the 1994 one, which is the one that I'm super familiar with, and you know, anyone who has not seen it, a really good character in this movie is the same little girl who is in Matilda.
Yes.
Which, of course, we love her. And was this before or after? I think this
Matilda,
was before.
I think it was before.
But I found this a really cool fun fact about the movie is that the movie premiered in Radio City Music Hall. They showed the movie there, which I was like, that's incredible. I didn't know that that was a thing, and I don't know that they still do that. But that's so magical.
It's so, and I mean, if you're in New York, or Radio City Music Hall just screams Christmas always because that's where you go for the Christmas spectacular.
Exactly.
But even to back it up to the older version, the 1947 version, it's Maureen O'Hara and John Payne, and it's like pretty insane. I did not know this until we were doing research for this. Mm-hmm. They released it in May. Because back then the theaters didn't have heating, and they're like, more people are out and about to go to the theaters in the summertime. They go to the movies in the summertime. They're off of school, more is happening. So when they were releasing the trailers for this and like all the marketing, they were trying to eliminate Christmas from it,
so that people didn't know.
know that it was a Christmas movie to get them to go into the movie.
That's fascinating. And
it won 3 Academy Awards, the older version. So you've got Best Actor in a Supporting Role for Gwen. You've got Best Writing, an Original Story, and Best Writing Screenplay. And it was also nominated for Best Picture, but it lost to Gentleman's Agreement. And then in 2005, it did get selected to be preserved in the National Film Registry by the Library of Congress. And I mean, just to go down, you've got Maureen O'Hara as Doris Walker, John Payne as Fred Gailey, Edmund Gwenn as Kris Kringle. And he's a really good Kris Kringle. Have you watched the older version? Yeah, he's a really good old school Santa.
He's classic.
And then you've got Natalie Wood played Susan Walker, which is super fun. If you're a Gilmore Girls fan, every time I see Natalie Wood, I just think of the little old lady that dresses Emily and Richard.
Yes.
Miss Celine. And she's like, Natalie Wood. Oh, Natalie Wood. And she thinks Lorelai looks like Natalie Wood every time
she does the wedding dress.
She does, and the graduation
outfits. Yeah. Oh,
so I always, every time I see Natalie Wood, I just think of Lorelai Gilmore, which has nothing to do with it. But it is got the same feeling to me that It's a Wonderful Life had, where it's very nostalgic. It's the same thing where it was not something that I'm dying to watch because it was black and white. Yeah. But it was always on before or after It's a Wonderful Life. So I never fully sat down and was like, oh, this is my favorite movie.
Yeah.
And I feel I want to be a very cultured film person and be like, I love it. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
But I did not appreciate it when I was younger.
You know what's interesting too, and we talked about this a little bit during the It's a Wonderful Life episode, but I just made this realization is the movie, the original movie, and then the remake, that's a beautiful addition to this like world of Miracle on 34th Street. And it makes me hopeful for the remake of It's a Wonderful Life, because if you think about the way they obviously did the original It's a Wonderful Life, it's not been redone since then. And you look at Miracle on 34th Street, that original movie, and there's
the OG,
right.
Yes.
There's that, it's black and white. There's this magical feeling to the movie. It is very, very old school. But then they remade it, and it has the same feeling that you get from the first one, in a new, more modern time.
Agreed.
And it still hits. And if anything, again, it might be because like generationally, like I grew up watching that the more recent one. So I relate to it a lot more. Like it hits home. There's something about, and maybe this is like being someone that grew up in New York, is like, you know, Thanksgiving is kind of the start of the holiday season for New Yorkers, especially with the Macy's Day Thanksgiving parade. And I think the fact that this movie opens with the parade, and obviously in the movie
and the whole thing is Santa's arriving to town.
Exactly.
And if you're a New Yorker or you watch the parade, you know that Santa's in the parade. He closes the parade out. He's the big show.
Yeah, and I think there's something magical. Like I remember as a kid, my entire childhood, every single Thanksgiving morning, you wake up with the smell of like, you know,
cinnamon rolls always for us.
It was always like the stuffing process, right? And then the parade getting put on. Like we're waking up to all these different smells, and the parade's on, and then after the parade, you watch the dog show.
Wait, I just remembered something. You just unearthed something. Yeah. Before I dive into all of my fun facts about the 47 version, I just have to ask you: do you remember the year in the parade that Barney almost killed everybody?
No.
You don't remember this? Guys, if you're listening, I don't remember what year it was, but Barney was about to fly away. And there's videos of people on the ground, laying down on top of each other, just holding Barney because Barney's about to kill everybody. He's about to take everybody in the parade out.
Terrifying. No, I don't remember that.
Barney in the 90s was a big deal, guys.
He was the everything.
King.
He was everything.
But yeah, 100%. And just to your point that you put the Thanksgiving Day parade on, and I love that both movies start this way. But I also love that the remake, and to your point, which makes me really hopeful for the It's a Wonderful Life remake, is a whole nother generation of people got to have the nostalgia with this movie.
Exactly.
And I think doing the research for this makes me so much more appreciative of the 1947. The three main leads, Maureen O'Hara, who plays Doris, and Edmund Gwenn, who plays Santa, and John Payne, who plays Fred, became such good friends. Just romanticize this with me. They became such good friends that they would film often for 12, 13 hours a day. They would get done, and they would go for martinis and then stroll Fifth Avenue all night long, just partying and hanging out, the three of them.
Stop.
And that is like, I love that so, so much. And then she said that, Maureen O'Hara said that her and Natalie Wood, who plays, her daughter,
girl, yeah,
became so close. And she said she felt like it was almost like her daughter.
Yeah.
And there's something about when movies wrap and all these stories come out and you find out that they're all still friends and they really like bonded and became. I love that. I don't know why. It makes me like a movie or TV show so much more.
It feels more authentic.
Yeah. There's nothing worse than when you find out the two stars that you thought had the best chemistry in the world cannot stand each other. They hate each other.
Dirty Dancing.
Dirty Dancing. Dirty Dancing.
No, I agree with that 100%. I think there is something, it makes it even more magical when you know that like the acting, obviously there are really good actors, but the fact that like these are really good actors, but also they just truly loved each other during this process. Like,
and they just became such good friends after. And then I also love the fact that you have, back to the 1994 version, because I do want to talk about all the people that are in that one, because that is like stacked. You have people on set. I don't know if they got along as well as, the other cast, but you have almost like a imperfect family, right? So it's a little girl without a dad.
Broken family,
It's a broken family. It's a little girl without a dad. It's a guy that everyone thinks is homeless and crazy because he lives in a shelter. And like you learn more and more and more. And I lived in a broken home and grew up in a broken, not perfect family.
Yeah.
And I think the reason that this is so nostalgic also is we talked about this last week in the studio, not even on the podcast. You're at that age where Santa can't be real, right? Like this movie, I can't imagine in the 40s it probably did the same thing.
Yeah.
Makes you believe in Santa.
Yeah.
It is just, if your kid is not believing in Santa, this movie makes you believe. Like there's magic
in this. And I think
agree.
with all that too, like that is what you get from the book. So like obviously the book, you don't get the storyline of the characters. There's no romance really. There is, but like there isn't.
For a minute.
Yeah, like you're just like, wait, what? Oh, okay.
And he liked her.
Yeah.
The
and
end.
they moved into a big house.
Which I really love that happens in the night.
I know. That's it. I do love the fact that all that stuff happens. But obviously it's a very different timeline. But I think there's a level of just, I think as adults especially, we want things. We want there to be a certain level of like magic in the world, because especially in a time where there's so much negativity and like, just we
read fantasy books, and I'm obsessed with Harry Potter.
You want an escape from reality.
Absolutely.
And I think like this movie, especially this time of year, is such a beautiful, it really like it brings you to a place where it's like, especially in the holiday season, how cool is it that as adults we can still believe in the magic of Christmas? Obviously we are adults, so we know what is real and what is not.
I would do anything to debatable. Not be an adult.
But I think like it's such a magical, like when you watch it and you haven't watched it for like obviously you go a year and you watch it again, whatever. Like I watched this and I haven't watched it since last year, and just watching it again, obviously I had read the book and the movie and the original movie, they all do the same thing. They put you in this mind frame of just mind frame. I don't know if that's the right word. Headspace of
feels
like
right.
magical.
Yeah.
You're excited for the holiday. And I think it also takes out of the equation so much of what has become the holiday season of like buying all these things and spending all this money, and it very much puts into perspective, like it is not about any of that. It is very much about making the family you have, whether that is biological or married into or adopt, whatever it is, friend, you can make your existence magical.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. And there's also, I think they cast this, when I say perfectly, I truly mean perfectly. So just to run down, you've got Richard Attenborough, who plays Kris Kringle. That is, to me,
that's Santa.
That is Santa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You tell me that man's not Santa, punch you in the face.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got Elizabeth Perkins, who plays Dory Walker. I love her so much. She was the fucking queen in the 90s movies.
Yes.
She was so beautiful. Those
her
lips, that hair.
Yeah.
Oh my God, she was fantastic.
And also just like that character is her. When you read the book and you kind of like take out, obviously you have like the original movie in your head.
Yeah.
And she is that person.
100%. And then you've got, Hattie McHattie. You've got Dylan McDermott, who plays Brian Bedford.
Those big glassy eyes that those shots that they do where you just see his eyes being all glassy and
How do you feel when you switch to Geico and save on your car insurance? It's like going to work on one Thursday morning and thinking to yourself, just one more day until Friday. But then somebody in the elevator says, Happy Friday! Then you check your phone quickly and discover today is actually Friday. So yes, Happy Friday, random stranger in the elevator. Happy Friday indeed. Yep, switching and saving with Geico feels just like that. Get more with Geico.
It can get lonely climbing Mount McKinley, so to entertain myself, I go to ChumbaCasino.com. At Chumba Casino, I can play hundreds of online casino-style games for free, like online slots, bingo, Slingo, and more. Plus, I get a daily login bonus. It's just too bad that up here, I don't have anyone to share my excitement with. Woohoo!
Live the Chumba life. Anytime, anywhere. Play for free now at ChumbaCasino.com. VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
And they followed this. They did it in the first movie, but in this movie they did it so it was evoking the same feeling as the first movie. They followed the cast around with spotlights. So every scene, there's a spotlight behind them so that they're lit in a way that it feels magical. It feels ethereal. And I mean, you can feel that so much. And then you've got J.T. Walsh, who plays Ed Collins. James Remar plays Jack Duff. Mara Wilson, our girl, plays Susan Walker. And then you've got, a little fun fact. Alvin Greeman, he plays the doorman. He's also in the first movie.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, which I love that so much.
Little throwback.
Do you feel like, all right, I'm not trying to sound shitty, but we have a Kohl's, it's spelled differently.
Yeah.
Kohls.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Coles.
Yeah.
But like, how stupid is Macy's to have declined this offer again?
I know.
They could have done it every time.
I don't know. There had to be a reason, some kind of something or other, but it seems very silly.
It just seems so stupid. But yes, Alvin Greeman, he's a doorman. He played Alfred in A Miracle on 34th Street in the 1947 version. This is actually really fun. In the original theatrical release, 20th Century Fox, so the OG,
okay,
they offered a full refund to anyone in the world who saw this movie and didn't enjoy it. And they only refunded 1,500 tickets.
Wow.
Out of like the thousands that
That's
saw it.
wild.
But also what a crazy
That's a crazy
thing.
marketing thing.
Right?
Yeah. But also, did they take a page out of their own book? Because what is the whole concept of Santa is telling people if they don't have something or he knows where they can get it cheaper, he'll send them to the other place.
And also, okay, let's just talk about that for a second. That to me is such a wholesome moment that as a kid who grew up very poor, whose parents couldn't often afford the big name things.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if a man was like, actually, go down the street, they've got this on sale, but like a mom would lose their mind over that.
Incredible.
And they cast that mom so perfectly.
Agreed. I think also while we're on the topic of moms and children on Santa's lap talking about things, the moment that makes me cry.
I can't even, I already know what you're going to say. It is my favorite moment in any Christmas movie ever, just thinking about it. And ever since that scene, I'm like, I need to learn sign language because the fact that there's first of all, are you ready to cry even more?
Yeah.
Do you know this fact?
I don't want to know.
Okay, well, I'm going to make you cry even more. Her name is Sammy. She plays the little deaf girl that sits on Santa's lap.
Yeah.
The girl's name is actually Samantha Krieger. She is deaf. She's one of 3 deaf siblings from deaf parents. Richard Attenborough, who plays Kris Kringle, asked that she not rehearse for her scene at all.
Hello, little one. How are you? Come.
Well. She's deaf. You don't have to talk to her. She just wanted to see you.
So when she sat on Santa's lap and she was so surprised to see Santa, all of that was genuine. That is really what she wanted for Christmas. She really thought she was sitting on Santa's lap.
Can't.
You are a very beautiful young lady.
He didn't want her to know anything about the scene, about what she was doing. And the look on the mom's face, I
literally can't think about it, but it's like such a pivotal. It's such an important moment of that because it's like it really sets you up for the rest of the movie because like there are so many elements of this character that makes you like, this is so much more than like just this guy that's sitting here, asking the kids what they want. Like parents bring their kids to see Santa and like they're not expecting a whole lot. Just maybe don't tell my kid that he can have whatever he wants.
Sure.
And the fact that not only is Santa saying, hey, actually you can get this toy on sale at this other store. So he's doing that. And then the fact that he's got this little girl who is deaf and he talks to her in sign language, using sign language. And it's such a beautiful, and the fact that that little fun fact that you just said, like even more so now makes me I can't. It's beautiful. And I think it really goes back to the whole like true meaning of what Christmas, not even that holiday season and like how it's gotten really far away from
it's
what
so capitalistic
really
now.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
And I also think that kind of ties into one of the biggest, at least what I saw as one of the biggest differences between the book and the movie adaptation was the fact that when Santa Claus, obviously, if you guys know the story, if you don't, basically Santa gets into some trouble and he gets put in jail and is potentially going to be in lots of trouble for beating up somebody
who antagonized him.
Exactly.
And works for the other story.
It was a total setup.
Yes.
And it was actually the drunken Santa that he took over for. But the fact is that he has to go to court and he has to be seen in front of a judge, and the judge there's no jury, it's just the judge, and the judge has to make the decision whether or not he's guilty, if he should be set free. And everyone is kind of like, well, I shouldn't say everyone. Some people are like, yeah, he is who he says he is, but also he thinks he's Santa Claus. So that's a little bit of a weird thing.
He's a little bit insane.
He lives in an old person's home. Like there's a lot of elements. But what I found fascinating is the fact that in the book, Santa is saved by the post office. The post office comes in to the courtroom and brings hundreds and hundreds of letters to Santa Claus. And I loved that. But then I also appreciated that they kind of took it and made it more relatable in the sense that, little Susan comes up and hands the judge a card, and inside the card is a $1 bill. And on the $1 bill, of course, there's the
In God We Trust.
In God We Trust. And again, it's a federal article of money and basically saying like, we put that on our money. So like, how can we say that this person is not real when we're putting, and obviously there's definitely some religion in that where like,
of course. Yes.
Believing is seeing kind of thing. But I think like I go back and forth. I kind of wish that it was the Santa letters because I really loved that. Like that visual would probably be really cool.
Adorable, yeah.
But I do also love the fact because little Susan is very much I think she wants to believe, but her mom has kind of made the decision to tell her everything.
She's a single mom, just trying to get through the friggin' day.
Clearly, she had not a great relationship with the father because she's very much like, I won't lie to my daughter. I won't put her in a position where she doesn't know what the truth is. And in the book, she kind of, she basically like says like, no, like she does not believe in Santa Claus. Like I will not allow her to believe in Santa Claus because that's not real. Santa's not real.
Yeah, she's very disillusioned. She's very like skeptical. This is we're not dealing with that nonsense.
Exactly. And then in the movie, she's a little bit more like, I let her make her own decision. So if she wants to believe, she can. I won't like stop her from believing. So I appreciate that too, because that felt a little bit more relatable. But then the fact that she then goes and is like basically like, no, he's Santa. Like, here you go. Here's the proof. This $1.
And there's, to that point, there's a scene in the movie where they're at the bar and Jack gives Tony the $1 bill. Like he slides it across the bar.
Yeah.
To antagonize Kris Kringle, right? Like he's like trying to get him to go. And the camera zooms in on the In God We Trust and the $1 bill. Just like a cute little foreshadowing. But, the original version too, very different, closer to the book. This one's a little bit more modernized. But there's almost this kind of paves the way for all the other Christmas movies that we're getting in the 90s, right? So you've got this very wholesome, Santa is real. It's very warm. You like, I watched that movie and I watched it 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. And it felt like, what? I want to be like Dylan McDermott, who immediately believes that this guy's Santa. Yeah. Doesn't even for a second double guess it.
I know.
And as a little kid watching that, I remember thinking like, this man's a lawyer.
Yeah.
Like, could you be any more educated? And this man believes that this is Santa.
Yep.
So who am I to disagree with him?
Right.
Like, he's a lawyer.
Exactly.
And
he's a very smart man.
He's a very pretty man.
He's a very pretty man.
And I think what's important about this movie is it really did, like I said, pave the way, because then you start to get like the Santa Claus with Tim Allen, which is, oh my God, chef's kiss. Love them.
There's also like the way that these movies were shot. I don't know if they used like a filter or if they did something.
It's the lighting.
They all feel like just magical. There's
straight
just
up magic.
Like a magicalness to them that like you don't get now.
So we talked about in the last episode about how our favorite, like, what is the movie you always watch when, you know, like decorating the tree and all that kind of stuff. And we mentioned Home Alone. And in the 1994 version, the Shopper Express entrance is advertising the Talk Boy, which is from Home Alone. Like created for the movie. It wasn't a real toy until after the movie was made. And so they're advertising it because Home Alone 2 is set in New York right around this time. So
those little Easter eggs.
God. And when you're a little kid watching that and you already you're like,
yeah,
this is really Santa.
Yeah.
Because like, how would they know? Kevin McAllister is getting a Talk Boy.
So true. Okay, so I mean, obviously we can't say enough nice things about this movie, but can we talk about some of the really hilariously terrible plot holes in this movie? Like, for example, the fact that these, you know, two people have known each other for like 0.5 seconds. And Mr. Lawyer Man, Mr. Brian, you know, tells Susan's mom, I can't ever remember her name.
Oh, well, she was Doris in the first one. Who is she in this one?
I don't know. I think we'll just say Doris.
We just said it. Dory. They made it Dory.
Okay. Interesting.
Dory Walker.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Works. When he confesses his love for her, I don't understand how.
Let me help you here. He has been their neighbor for a long time, and I think he babysits her a lot.
Yes.
So I think, I'm going to be very honest with you, a little creepy though. It's like, I love your mom.
That and like, they haven't spent any time together.
Just here and there.
Although, here's my question is...
See, I got it differently. I thought that like he was like the neighbor guy next door. The little girl goes over there all the time.
Yes.
Or if she's home alone, mom will call lawyer guy, our guy Brian, to go over and check on her.
Yeah.
And I think that she kind of had a little Parent Trap moment where she's like, oh yeah, I want a dad for Christmas. I want a brother.
Yeah.
I need them to fall in love. So like planting seeds, but it is a little weird that he's a grown ass adult telling the little girl like, I think your mom's hot. You want to hook it up? You want to hook it up for me?
I think obviously there's obviously a certain level of just like you kind of
suspended belief.
Yeah, like you have to kind of just assume that they have a relationship outside of what we're seeing.
That's exactly where my brain went because I just accepted it.
And like I think they try to do a good job of giving you certain elements, like they go Christmas shopping together, and obviously that's when he asks her to marry him. But then I also find it really funny because what is little Susan's wish is to have a dad and then also the house and then
it's
also
gorgeous.
a baby sibling.
Yeah, a brother.
So it seems like this has been in her like dreams for some time.
Sure.
So like I would assume that this is their norm and we're just getting a piece of what their norm is.
Can we talk about the house?
I would like to live there.
I want to go to there.
And it was like the house that's featured in like Better Homes and Gardens.
Yeah.
You know.
And
the Christmas
it's
house.
very Connecticut.
Oh,
let's be honest.
my
that
gosh.
is the most Connecticut of Connecticut.
Yeah.
It's very Connecticut.
Hamptons?
It's very, you know. Also, okay. Back to plot holes.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to poke holes.
No, but
because I suspend belief to make all of this make sense. I do love that they move into the house fully. Kris Kringle's like, yo, let me deck this shit out for Christmas, even though Christmas is come and gone.
The fireplace is burning.
What, you have a taste? No, you don't.
No.
Red and green is all you
This
get.
is what you're getting.
Red and green.
Also, he's like in the house because his cane is there. But he's not there. He like shows up after.
Do we think it's maybe his house that he like, this is Santa's northeast corridor?
I mean, I think we can't really.
I think we have to ask him.
I think we just have to, just assume it is.
Okay.
And go from there. But it is literally a dream. And
what do we think that house cost? Because he just gives it to them.
Well, and there's the part, so in the part of the movie where they're kind of deciding what to do, well, Santa Claus is telling the customers to go to different stores, and that other guy that works with Dory, they're basically like, oh, we need to tell the owner of Kohl's that we think this is a good marketing thing. We think we should do this. I believe Dory, but maybe it was the guy, they're like, I'm really hoping for my Christmas bonus. So my assumption is
he helps them get the Christmas bonus.
Well, not even that, but my assumption is that is part of that is how they are able to afford this house.
Understood.
Right.
Understood.
In theory.
That's $1 million home.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
even
more.
in the 90s.
Just
yeah.
More. Yeah. Especially fully furnished and presents.
I mean, that driveway. Just the
Also, they have a car.
Very New York, huh? Everyone downtown New York. Just,
I mean, to be fair, they live in a high rise.
Yeah, she's making dough
in the direct line of the
Thanksgiving Day parade. So, all right, we're gonna just finish this up here and say that we were wrong because they're clearly both loaded.
Yes,
I mean she's a very high up executive, but I'm also thinking like she's the high up executive of what is seemingly one store in Manhattan.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
This is why adults aren't supposed to talk about these things. We're supposed to just accept it.
I know. I think the thing is like this is just a fun little sidebar.
Sure.
Honestly, I will watch this movie every year.
Forever.
And I will love it.
If you have not watched this movie, if you are listening to this and you're like, I've only watched the original, or I've only watched the modern one and not the original.
Yes.
Watch the 1973 version. Watch the 1947 version.
Mm-hmm.
It is very...
It's the same feeling you get when you watch
It's a Wonderful Life or A Christmas Story as well. But It's a Wonderful Life. It's very nostalgic. It's it's beautiful.
Yes.
When you watch this one,
yeah,
just understand how it shaped us in the 90s, okay? There are millennials everywhere that did not believe in Santa Claus. Watch this movie and we're like, shit, I was wrong.
Santa's real.
He's so real.
Yeah.
And Matilda's there, and she does magic.
Yeah, exactly. And Santa is literally on my screen.
Well, let's see what year Matilda came out so we can see which came first.
Well, and also to add to your list of must watch or read or listen or whatever, I want to add to that list because I discovered something while reading the book that there was a holiday special that was released on the radio, and you can now get it on Audible or like audio.
You told me about this. I'm really into the radio special situation here. I need to.
It is incredible, and like it is now going to be added to my like holiday.
Okay, I'm gonna
list.
Do that.
It is super quick. It's a short little thing. It's not the book. It is the movie version of the book, but radio. And so there's sound effects. There's the original actors are the voices of the characters. Like it's excellent.
I just want to listen to that while I bake cookies.
Yes. And there's also what makes it even cooler is there's like the commercials from that time
are playing.
So you get like the actors doing the commercials and they're like, snowy flakes make your clothes so fresh and bright. And it's like a whole, and it's magical.
Okay.
It's wonderful.
Well, I'll be listening to that.
Yes.
That's on the list.
Yes.
Also, for the record, Matilda came out in 96, so this came out first.
Okay.
But
which is what we thought that.
That's what we thought. Okay. Watch it or read it. And this is going to be controversial. I'm going watch it.
Yeah, okay, fair. I'm going to go watch it too because here's the thing, is you aren't missing anything by not reading it.
Uh-huh.
If you don't watch it,
you're missing everything.
You're missing everything.
Agreed.
Now, if you love the movie and you also love reading, 100% read the book because it is very, very quick. And
it's more of the magic. You know how like you don't want something to end?
Totally.
I love that there's this new thing that I've discovered attached to the thing I love.
Exactly. And I would also add that little radio special to the...
I'm 100% adding that. I cannot wait to listen to
We got another listen.
Okay.
2 down.
We got to listen. But I'm going to say watch it.
Yeah, same. Watch it.
One of those rare occasions.
I know. Wow. Look at that.
But I'm very excited to continue our little Christmas.
Yeah. And if you guys are looking for like a really cute Christmas book to add to your collection, like 100% get the book because it's beautiful, especially the hardcover. It's little
really
red with like gold foiled lettering. It's perfection.
It's really cute. All right. On to the next one.
Yay. All right.
Bye. Our editor is Katie Yonner. Our associate producer is Grace Heerman. Our production coordinator is Nicole Vargas. And our senior content producer is Kyle Bosch. Our executive producer is Tommy West. And Watch It or Read It is produced by Gotham West Studios.
How do you feel when you switch to Geico and save on your car insurance? It's like going to work on one Thursday morning and thinking to yourself, just one more day until Friday. But then somebody in the elevator says, Happy Friday! Then you check your phone quickly and discover today is actually Friday. So yes, Happy Friday, random stranger in the elevator. Happy Friday indeed. Yep, switching and saving with Geico feels just like that. Get more with Geico.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.